Welcome to day one of the New York Vendor Showcase. This is our second year doing this. We did this last year and we decided that we would do it again, given that we have some existing vendors sharing and showcasing great products. We have some new vendors that have come online and just some new school food partners that are interested. So just by way of quick introduction here, I'm Cheryl Belinsky. I'm with Cornell Cooperative Extension Harvest, New York. And I'm joined here by my team of coordinators. I'm not going to go through and introduce everyone, but you can see everybody's faces here on the map. This is our regional farm to school coordinator program. And of course, there are other coordinators across the state that can assist you as well. But we have Becky, Lizzie, SJ, Megan, Katie, Christy, and Amy, many of whom are joining today's vendor showcase and will be again tomorrow. So just to go through the schedule, this is who we have today. We're going to start with Hudson Harvest, and we have MorningStar Poultry, Lucki Livestock, Good Granola. We unfortunately had a cancellation at 2:10, so I'm going to fill the space and just talk through some tactics to find local products. We have One Mighty Mill, Hudson Valley Fresh Dairy, Upstate Niagara Co-op, Sfoglini Pasta, and Issa's Pita Chips. We're going to move through this at pace. So the reason I say that is we may be ahead of schedule. We likely won't be behind schedule. So, if there's something that you needed to step away for, by all means, please do that. But we're just going to keep moving through. So the timing might not be 100% accurate, but we're going to do our best to stay on course. I did want to mention that the vendors that are showcasing are either New York grown and certified, or we have product formulation statements for the products they're featuring on file. So that was the two-part litmus test that had to be met. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pass it over to our friends at Hudson Harvest, and we're going to go ahead and share slides for everyone. So SJ, if you could pull that up, that would be great. And I want to welcome Michelle from Hudson Harvest. Hi. You can feel free to just take it away just as soon as we get your slides pulled up.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Michelle Zubal, and I am really delighted to introduce you to Hudson Harvest. We are a local food distributor, and we're really passionate about enhancing the quality of meals in our schools and communities. You can go to the next slide. At Hudson Harvest, we believe that providing fresh and nutritious and locally sourced food is essential for fostering the well-being and growth of our future generations. With this in mind, our team has worked tirelessly to establish strong relationships with local farmers and producers, enabling us to supply the freshest and most selectable products to our valued clients. We partner with over 100 farmers, cheesemakers, butchers, and specialty food producers to bring you the best local food. Next slide. So this is a slide, and this is what I'll be highlighting here is the Hudson Harvest ecosystem. So we are our food hub, and we are enhancing and meeting the demand of all of our local farms and cheesemakers, butchers, and producers. So we are seeing the demand come from our over 400 regional customers of retailers, institutions, and restaurants. We also have our Trusted Harvest under our Hudson Harvest brand that is allowing us to work with local farms to produce fresh cut services, and we're able to create niche added value items for our clients, which I will elaborate more on in the next slide. And with all of this demand, Hudson Harvest is poised and working on continuous growth for our future offerings. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a little bit about Trusted Harvest. Our facility and team in Athens, New York is able to source from our reliable farm partners to turn second or imperfect produce and turn the items into different cuts, such as cubes or zoodles and even sauces. We're able to, work with farms and forecast to secure vegetables in season and also freeze them to provide institutions or whomever access to these items year round. So with this service that we are able to offer, we're able to basically do what the customer, how they want to see it. So we can cube, we can shred, grate, slice, dice, sticks, chunks, or even turn, a zucchini into noodle. And we can package in any way. And again, this is located in Athens, New York, and the possibilities here are really endless. So what we're hoping and what we are, offering our farms is allowing them to, to stay on their farm, and we are managing all of their day-to-day logistics of picking up or receiving their drop off and getting it out the door to 500, different 400 to 500 retailers or institutions and restaurants throughout the Northeast. So we're able to also provide our farms with our product list where they can, see our weekly price sheet and, be able to be pricing their stuff competitively to get into more and more locations. We're also able to, like I mentioned above, source with and work with the farms and have them utilize our Fresh Cut program. Next slide, thank you. So here's just a small case study on actually small town cultures. And this is how we started our partnership. And we have been able to, as you can see in this graph, we've been able to get them into doors between Whole Foods and the rest of our customer base, and have been able to really grow those sales since 2020. And being able to work with accounts like this and vendors like this allows us to see the sales and meet the growing demand, and also now work with the institutions. If they want to try a retail size, size of this, we can bring this into a bulk option for them, and work with the vendor and give them the growing demand and showcase them that we're able to provide this to institutions, and these are the sales that it's going to be. Next slide. And then another case study here is just with our institutions that we've already been working with. So we have been able to work with a lot of institutions, a lot of food banks and schools throughout the past few years to really become a one-stop trusted, shop for them. Our product list, it allows us to just put New York State on the product list, so they can come to us and be sure that we are sourcing and working with New York State farms and vendors. We're able to, as a distributor, we're able to keep track of all of the record keeping, the bookkeeping, all of the logistics is definitely covered with us. So we hope to be their one point of contact for an entire order. They can be assured that we're, in compliance with insurance and all of our licensing, menu planning. We can work with chefs on, securing the produce and turning it into a menu plan with them. Next slide, please. Here's another case study with Fortune Society. This is another grant that is also through New York State. This is the Nourish New York grant, and this began at the onset of the pandemic again. So we've been able to work with our farms and have this relationship to build produce bags and also eggs to supply about 500 bags a week. And we do this again in our Athens, New York distribution location. And we are able to work with our Trusted Harvest team to wash, cut, do what the produce bag needs for that week. And that's really it. So I just wanted to thank everyone on allowing me the time to speak with you. And I hope we can collaborate and work on, the school program together. It's exciting to see it grow, and the possibilities are truly endless with what Hudson Harvest could provide for some of you institutions. So I thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Great, thanks, Michelle. And I did put that in chat. If we have time at the end of each vendor presentation, we can certainly take some questions, or you can pop them in chat. We did find last year that we were running a bit ahead of schedule, so we likely will have time. Okay. So I would say if anybody has any, please feel free to either put them in chat or take yourself off mute. We do have a question about presentations being available after. Yes, they will. We'll make sure that we share out the full slide deck. And we also asked all vendors for their permission to post it to our YouTube site as well. So we'll be putting these on our YouTube site as well. And I see that Becky answered that too. Thank you, Becky. Just pause for a moment here to see if there's any questions for Michelle before we move on.
Do any of your vendors provide organic foods?
Yes, we do. We do have organic labels on our product list. So we do note that on our product list.
Michelle, we have a question in chat. I think this is generally, and I'll set the stage too before we move on, but the question is, can vendors offer their delivery parameters? Can you talk a little bit about what your delivery radius is?
Yes. Yeah, so we currently are, we deliver up through Saratoga, down to Long Island and parts of New Jersey, Connecticut, so our process is, we kind of just get approval through routing, but we're open to explore different areas if we're currently not going in that area right now.
Great, thanks. And we have a question about order size, minimum order amount, noting that this particular person is a small school.
Great. Yeah, so our order size is, our delivery minimum is $275. And that is, we can, once it gets approved for routing, we usually offer 2 days a week to make deliveries. So it would be, just within those parameters right there.
Great, thank you. All right, I guess hearing and seeing none, I think we can move on. But Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. You were our first to go.
So thank you. Yeah, thanks. I hope I covered everything, but thank you for your time.
Of course. And like I said, we'll be sharing out contact information, slide deck. So if there's specific questions you want to follow up with, we'll make sure you have all the resources to be able to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we do have mostly school food partners here in the room with us today, but we also invited our known supply chain partners. So those folks that are working on that all important last mile distribution and stuff like that. And I know that we have a few joining us today and a few registered for tomorrow as well. So I do want to thank our distribution partners, those that were able to join today. Hopefully this is helpful to all of you to be able to learn about some of the available New York food products that we think some of our school food partners are going to be interested in. And if you ever want to talk about products that are available. Offline, feel free to reach out to any one of our coordinators as well. But I did want to acknowledge that we have some other folks in the room as well. And again, thank them for their participation.
Good.
Are you with
Hi,
us, Ruben?
everybody.
Great.
Yes,
Take it away, Ruben.
here.
This is Cheryl. We have your slide pulled up, so feel free to do your thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm sorry for the delay. I was tied up with a project I had going on today, and I was just a few minutes late in getting started. So I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm happy to share information on what we do here. I guess probably the main thing I wanted to talk about was our products that we make and that we carry. So we have 16 farmers that are in our area. There's a few that are outside of our counties, but it's mostly within like Montgomery County and the surrounding counties. And we have a USDA processing facility here, and we bring in the chickens, usually at between 6 to 8 weeks of age, and then we process. We do whole chickens, and we do anything from a whole chicken to a chicken pot pie. We do 8-piece, which is a drum and a thigh, a wing and a boneless breast, and we do split chickens, which is just a whole chicken split in half. And we also do like further process, which is breaded chicken patties, and we do like a diced chicken. We do 1/2 inch or 3/4. There's different preferences on that. And we do ground chicken, and we're also getting into like doing a chicken schmaltz, which is like a kind of same thing as a lard, but it's made from a chicken fat. And then of course we do our chicken pot pies, which is a product that actually was kind of what started the business. My mom has been a very outgoing cook, and in like 8 years ago she started with that. So once we had started with the pies, our I guess it kind of opened a new window for us, and we were very excited to start producing our own chicken for the pies, which is kind of where it led us to starting up a USDA processing facility. So yeah, now 10 years later, we're still doing the pies, but we're also very involved in just doing like slaughtering and processing of New York State Grill certified chickens. So all the farmers that we have on board have all gone through the New York State Grill certification process. We have all the certificates on our files here, and each farmer has his own as well. So and then there's distributors that we work with. We work with Headwaters. They work with like the Farm to School program, the Nourish New York program, and then we're also open to selling direct. But it seems what works best for us is just to focus on processing and let a well-established distributor take care of like all the shipping and all that stuff. So yeah, I guess I don't have an awful lot to share, but we're somewhat new in this program, and we really look forward to being a part of it. And if anyone has any questions, just ask.
Great. Thank you, Ruben. Do folks have questions for Ruben?
I know I actually received a question today from a district for Ruben, wondering if, so out in Western New York, would you be able to split pallets between schools?
That's something that would be new for us, but we have we have shipped small orders. There was like a few food banks that had ordered smaller shipments. We actually haven't done a whole lot of selling directly to schools. I did pick out quite a few samples, and I did meet with a lot of school directors, but this is like our first winter that we're really doing the farm to school products and stuff. So I definitely say yes, we can do that, but what's easiest for us is like to do a pallet at a time. Like what did you have in mind? Maybe like 1/3, 1/2 pallet, or?
Yeah, no, they were asking, well, they each want 12 cases, so maybe we can get them to round up. So we're I'm sure I can get another school on there. So
Okay.
they would need like another 13-ish cases. Nope, not even 13 cases. But so it would be like, they would like to get a pallet and, oh yeah, no, just, one extra case on there. I'll have one of them get an extra. Or a few. So they would just like, one pallet, but just 2 different drop-off locations.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine we could do that. I mean, if it's easier for them to buy from a distributor, like Headwaters or Lucki7 or whoever, and just have that, just deal directly with the distributor to do that, I'm guessing that would probably be a more maybe a better approach to that, because really for us we have limited freezer space, so for us to store pallets that are only part full, we're kind of like not maximizing our freezer space.
Right.
And
and I know Stephen is.
Yeah, that's how about if the pallet would go out full and then like one school would get 13 cases, next school would get 13 cases.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm sure
Or
we can get.
does it need to be palletized?
Yeah, I think it's only like a case short there for that order. So I'm sure I
Yeah,
can get them
right.
to order, to get one more case.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
wouldn't be too bad. I think one question that some schools have had is there any kind of advance order that they can they order and expect to be able to get it within a few days or a week, or do they need to order ahead of time?
We don't really carry a lot of inventory here. We have a constant flow of birds coming in. So if we have to order, I'd like to say 30 days, or it's usually nice for us if we have like a 30-day, because a lot of birds that come in are like pre-ordered. So if they place an order, usually our farmers carry like more birds than what are ordered. So usually if they order like at least 30 days in advance, I'd say there's a very good chance that we have the birds. And sometimes we have extra birds that we would make an extra pallet of diced chicken and put that in storage. But for the most part, the birds are like pre-ordered, sometimes even before they hit the ground.
Okay. That's really helpful to know. Thank you.
Ruben, we have some
But
questions.
I know some of our
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
some of our distributors, like Headwaters, they did start to carry extra inventory. So there's a good chance that they would be able to do like maybe like a 1 week order and have it shipped out that same week.
Ruben, we do have some questions about the pot pie. So we have Susan asking for a picture of the chicken pot pie. You might have sent those to me, so I might have that. And I was going to share information on our. Yeah, so I think you sent me that, so we can make sure we send that out to folks as well. But then we had another question: if any schools are using the pot pie on the menu. Have you sold the pot pie to any schools yet?
We have not. I did take a lot of samples out. I had a request from one of the places like that. They just wanted like the pot pie filling, and that's something that we thought we'd probably add as well. I'm not sure how that would be served, but they really like the filling, which was like the chicken broth, the diced chicken with all the vegetables. So there's different ways that we can do it, because I know like to serve a pie in a school is probably not the most efficient way serve a meal because like basically you can only get 4 slices of one pie. So if we can figure out a way to either maybe more like a casserole style or maybe just like one, like just a filling with a crispy pie crust on top. We've been brainstorming ideas on how to make that, very nice for schools to serve. So I'm not sure where that's going to end up, or I'm not sure what exactly we'll end up offering yet. But from the feedback I had on the pie samples, they all said it was a very great product, but it wasn't like the most efficient way to serve it, or it was more it was like difficult to serve to a large crowd because you had to cut up tons of pies. So.
Well, Ruben, we have some great suggestions from our food service directors in the room that they're putting it in chat. So I see dumplings could serve as a filling with dumplings or pierogies, chicken and biscuits. So you have some ideas right there that our food service directors are sharing in the chat.
Yeah, right. So would that be like with a crust or just strictly like the diced chicken with the broth and the vegetables, like basically the pie filling?
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
But if somebody wants no crust, so just your filling.
No crust. Okay, right.
Yep.
Does anyone have a good idea what a good size pan would be to make a stand-in for that? Like, I'm just curious what they use in the school cafeterias as far as like how they would heat that up, because for us we need to start out with like the proper size pan. So it's very convenient for the schools to just put it in their like warmers and heat it up to how they need it. Unless if the filling would be like dumped into a different container. I guess it would just be very helpful for us to understand how that would be served, so we can come up with the best solution for a pan or a way to.
We've got some suggestions, Ruben. So we have a 5-pound steamable bag is a suggestion, another vote for no crust, another endorsement for an interest in the filling. Some folks would say a bag is fine, they can reheat it in the pan. So I think we can dig in more too, but it seems like there could be the bag sounds good, and there would be a lot of interest in the filling itself without the crust.
Okay. Well, that's very easy for us to do that. I mean, we can do tons of that, because it's like we're set up with our we have like huge commercial stoves, and we can make tons of filling. It's usually the pie assembly that takes the most labor, which is what of course slows down the production the most. So if we were to focus on just doing filling, I'm sure we could get very good at doing lots of it and staying very consistent.
Great. We have a question. Let me just go up top here. 1 second. Well, first of all, we had a question about the product list. And so Amy dropped a link to MorningStar's website, and there's lots of information about the products there. I'm also going to plug our 30% database when I'm filling in that time at 2:10. And we have all of MorningStar's products listed in our database with information sheets on each of them as well. So Ruben rattled them off, but there's quite a few different types of cuts that are available, both cooked and raw, and we have those itemized in our database. So I will share that out. Yeah, so I'll share the database out with everybody at 2:10 when I'm slated to fill in for a spot. Yeah. Yep. And I think we had one other question. I'm just going up there to Anne's question. Ruben, can you talk about direct delivery? So if that's something that you are willing to do, and if so, how many pallets for a minimum delivery? And Anne is located in Western New York.
So definitely 1 pallet minimum. We can do 2 pallets with our shipping container that we have now. And yes, as far as like doing deliveries, we are interested in doing that. Sometimes it's almost easier if we just work with distributors, but at the same time, if there are schools that want to work directly with us, we're more than happy to to do it that way, of course. But our like shipping container that we have now, our refrigerated container, can hold 2,000 pounds of product, and we can basically ship that to anywhere of New York State. And one pallet is usually around 1,000 pounds. So I know like diced chicken is heavy, that adds up very fast. But if we're doing something like breaded patties or stuff like that, it might not be quite as heavy. But that's okay. I'd be comfortable to say that one pallet we can pretty much deliver to all of New York State.
Great. We have two
And
more. Sorry, go ahead, Ruben. Go ahead.
We also work with Southern Tier, which is a shipping company, and they don't go to the city, but they get pretty much all of the Western New York, Southern Tier, Hudson Valley, and like Upstate New York, like above the central region.
That's great. That answers one of the questions that we had in chat. So that was any options for Westchester County. So that's certainly downstate. Any distributors down that way? Is there anything? So we had a question about Long Island specifically, and Amy shared that Headwaters also carrying this product and services Long Island. But wondering if distribution options on Long Island and in Westchester County. I think you answered that, but if you want to add anything, feel free.
Yeah, so Westchester is definitely no problem. We can, usually we work with Southern Tier as much as we can, but sometimes the route doesn't go that way. Like, let's say we'd be going down to Westchester, their route wouldn't go down that way for like 2 weeks. So in that case, we just use our shipping container, and then but for Long Island, they don't go down there, so either we'd have to find a different trucking company to work with, or just do it ourselves. But that probably wouldn't be the. I guess we're not very efficient at doing deliveries, but it's still doable. Like I said, our shipping container can do 2,000 pounds. So if the order would be for at least 2,000 pounds, we could definitely do it. If it'd be more than that, we'd either have to make 2 trips or find or partner with the trucking company that trucks it down there. But of course, we can always do it through Headwaters as well. So
great. Folks, I would also plug too, we're going to go on to the next here in just a moment, but I see some chatter in the chat as well. Definitely reach out to a farm to school coordinator in your region if you have one. So I see Amy and Christy responding in the chat box for Hudson Valley and Long Island. But Ruben's product is making its way or could make its way to those different regions. So through existing distributors. So by all means, connect with one of your coordinators if you have additional questions, or just call Ruben. We'll make sure that you have all the contact information as well. I don't see any other questions in the chat box right now, Ruben, but I did want to thank you for joining us. And actually, Stephen Winkler is going next from Lucky Star. And I know you guys are working a little bit together, so feel free to stay on, of course, for as much as you want. But I'm going to pass it over to Stephen Winkler from Lucki7 here in a moment. SJ, if you could pull up Stephen's slides, that would be great. And folks, if you continue to have additional questions, by all means, put them in the chat box. There's some good dialogue going on in there already. Stephen, do we have you?
You got me.
You got you. Okay, I think SJ's pulling up your slides. Is that correct, SJ?
Sorry, I'm struggling to find them. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no worries. Shay, if you need any help, just let us know. Oh, screen share.
Is it this?
Looks
Is this
good. Thank you.
Yep, that's what we have. Thanks.
Great.
Stephen? Take it away.
All right, everybody. I really appreciate the format. And Becky, thanks for giving me a hand. She was very patient on me getting her the slides. Not the most tech savvy farmer, but I appreciate all the help from the group here at Farm to School. So thank you. Really liked following Ruben. Ruben's family and I have had a relationship for a couple of years. We have distributed his product throughout the state. Not only do I self-distribute for Lucki7 Livestock Company, but we do some distribution for other farmers like MorningStar and even some of the smaller lamb and goat farmers. And I've aligned myself with even bigger distributors throughout the state. If I can't touch the North Fork of Long Island, usually have a relationship with somebody that can. So Westchester, Long Island, Southern Tier, the Adirondacks, more times than none, give us 5 to 7 days notice, and we can get it to a facility, a school or a college, by some way. So just a brief bio about Lucki7 Livestock Company. Myself, my wife Lisa, and my youngest son Peter are all on the farm and partners. Our main portion of our farm is swine production and beef production. We grow all our own grains. All the animals are 100% vegetarian fed. It's a pastured based operation, meaning weather permitting, of course, mud season, snow season. The animals have access to outside, just sometimes they don't choose to stay out in the inclement weather, and certainly pasture is only available 6 to 8 months a year. We do have lots of different items. We try to keep it to a fairly small list, just not to confuse. But on the beef side, ground beef, beef patties, fajita meat tends to be the marquee. On the pork side, hot dogs, sausages, ground pork, and even different specialty items. We've even done, for instance, with the Herkimer Bosse's, we did a cooked pulled pork with barbecue sauce added one year, which was very successful. We've aligned ourselves with Mosner Family Brands, who does some processing for us, but most importantly, they have a cook kitchen, cook commissary, high class, high in the techniques, food safety, and packaging, which we feel very important to have aligned ourselves with somebody like Mosner Family Brands, because they're not only a large commercial operation, most importantly, it's a food safety aspect, and the packaging's correct. I think that's it for now.
Great, thanks, Stephen. So do we have any questions for Stephen? There's a comment here, confirmation for Lucki7. Scott, I don't know what you mean. Oh, I'm sorry, you have a confirmation. Stephen, can you do pre-cooked Italian sausage?
The answer is yes, we can do that in patty, loose, or links. Yes. We
Great.
also do a breakfast link, a 2 ounce we can do a 1 ounce or a 2 ounce breakfast link. Can do a blended. Right now, the recipe is predominantly pork, but we can do a blended product with beef. Haven't done 100% beef recipe yet for sausages, but that potential is there.
Great, thanks. We have a question about a minimum direct delivery order. Is there one? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, preferably like to do 2,000 pounds a pallet. I can do some self-distribution with some of the smaller school systems that we work with, Alex Bay, Sandy Creek, even Watertown. Whether it's the time of the year or even storage, we have done 500 or 600 pounds, but I'm going to say that's on a specialty. one-on-one basis, but let's talk. If you want to just try the product and get your feet wet, I'm willing to try anything to just get the relationship going and get the ball moving.
Great, thank you, Stephen. Do we have other questions for Stephen? Do you come to Rockland, or do you go down to Rockland County?
Yeah, Rockland's actually, that lower Hudson Valley is a hotbed for us. The Mosner family is originally from Rockland, Westchester, so that's really a hotbed for us. And the traffic is great going from northern New York, heading towards the city. So the answer is yes, and we're happy to do it.
Great. Would samples of pre-cooked be available?
Pre-cooked, you said, Cheryl?
Yeah, so this is the question came from Scott. He asked about the pre-cooked sausage. Would samples of pre-cooked be available?
Yes.
Great. Sorry, I'm going back up to the questions here. Another question, do you work with a distributor, because even 500 pounds is way too much for this particular school district?
And once we get under 500-600 pounds, the cost of transportation for me to hire somebody or even share a load, it gets a bit excessive. So if we're going to do smaller loads, I'm going to do self-distribution with either a freezer in the back of my truck or a large series of coolers. It can be done, but I'm going to self-distribute because just the sheer cost of transportation nowadays.
Okay, great. Trying to see. We have a question. I have a small school district. Do I need 2,000 pounds?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can get smaller than Sandy Creek and even Lime, not much, and I'm doing those schools and doing those myself. So it can be done. Really want to get that on the radar so I can build some loads around that. Let's say it's Nassau County, Long Island, to run 300 pounds down there. It can be done, but it'd be a waste of time and a waste of fuel if I couldn't bundle some loads. So I'd really want to bundle an area if we could.
Great. And I see Christy popped in there, Lower Hudson Valley folks. Let's talk about collaborative buying. We have a question specific to Western New York, Genesee County specifically. Do you deliver to Genesee County, Western New York, and do you do bulk ground beef? Absolutely.
Love that Genesee County region. Go Bills. So we're in Western New York and the Finger Lakes quite often. And Christy, that's great. Trying to put loads together with other schools. That's really the spirit of this whole program. Let's share resources and knowledge and orders. And I think all farmers will benefit.
Great. We have a question about how far north do you come?
Well, I'm on the northern edge of Lake Ontario, and the state goes up a little higher to Malone and Chateauguay. So it's basically in my region. So happy to do so. I don't know where the question came from, but we have done we've done Hammond, Potsdam. We sell routinely to Clarkson and SUNY Potsdam as well as St. Lawrence. So we've done Paul Smith's as well. North-south isn't the issue. As we tickle into the Adirondacks, definitely doable. But again, the traffic flow isn't as predominant, let's say, as the lower Hudson Valley.
Great. And I don't know where you're at, Margaret, but if you want to pop your school district, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can follow up directly with Stephen too. We have a call out for the Finger Lakes. It's not, whether or not you serve the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, certainly. Do Weedsport, have done South Seneca. So yeah, that's we definitely in the wheelhouse. Yes.
Great. We have a little shout out, some love for Western New York on that team as well. Margaret is with Warren County Bolton Landing. Oh,
wow. Lake George region. Certainly doable, right on the edge there. Want to get it on the radar so we can plan around that. But yes, it's I guess that's Hudson, Upper Hudson River Valley or the Lake George region. Yes. Southern Adirondacks.
Great. I don't see anything else in the chat, so I think we can go on to our next person here. I just want to do one quick scan and see if I missed any questions. I don't think I did. So Stephen, thank you so much. Obviously a lot of interest in your products. So we will, like I said, I'm not sure when you joined us, but we'll be sharing out a list of participants with our vendors and a list of vendors with our participants. So, and we can even flag some of the ones that asked specific questions. I'm not sure if you were able to see the chat and who specifically was asking all these questions, but we'll make sure we get that information to you.
I was trying to move along and find it, Cheryl, but I just want to say thanks. Thanks to your team. You're doing a great job. We're trying to push this thing full steam ahead, and this is the right kind of format, and I really enjoyed it. So I'll be listening. Thanks again.
You are most welcome, Stephen, and thank you to you. It takes a village, we have learned, and this is a good village, so thanks. All right, so next up we have Charlie from Good Granola, and it looks like we have their presentation loaded up. Thank you, SJ. Charlie, do we have you with us?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Take it away. Just queue up SJ for a slide change.
Okay, cool. Well, first off, thank you guys, the farm to school team, Cheryl, Becky, everybody for putting this together. It's really awesome to see, and we're very, very appreciative of you doing it. Yeah, I'm Charlie. I'm one of the founders of Good Granola Company. SJ, would you mind clicking to the next slide?
Sorry, one second.
That's okay. Perfect. So we are an allergy-free granola company. We're family-owned. It's a picture of all of us, myself there on the right, my dad on the left, and right next to me, my sister Liz and my mom there in the middle. My other two sisters aren't involved, but they definitely help with some taste testing for sure. My dad, he kind of handles a lot of the R&D, and he loves to bake and kind of get the recipes going. I head our sales and marketing force, and then my sister and mom are really kind of the blood of the company. My sister runs all the production and day-to-day, and my mom is kind of our overall CEO, so everything gets bounced off of her. We were founded in late 2022. A lot of you may know Michelle Little. She had the Perfect Granola Company. She was selling Perfect Granola, and it just seemed to be a great fit for us. So we bought her equipment and moved into a newly renovated allergy-free facility down in Elmira, New York. For those of you, I mean, I'm sure majority of everybody knows where Elmira is, but I just have a little picture of us down there on the map, right in the middle of the state, right, the New York and Pennsylvania border. We're woman-owned with my sister Liz and mom really running the show. And really our mission is just to bring back nutritious and delicious New York State grown and certified granola to K-12 schools. It's super important for us to be able to provide a really high-end, tasty, just nutritious and healthy option for schools. And we're super excited to do it. SJ, if you wouldn't mind clicking over to the next. And so for the actual granola, so we're offering two different options. We have cinnamon swirl and chocolate crunch. All of our products are allergen free, smart snack compliant from a fat standpoint, calorie standpoint, all of it, sodium. It's a vegan product, 100% whole grain. We use whole grain oats and puffed rice in our product to make up our whole grains. A lot of granolas have added oils, whether it's coconut oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, a lot of those. We've figured out how to make it crispy and crunchy without the added oils. So we really think that that's a good bonus for us. 1 ounce of granola is a 1 ounce grain equivalent. As I said, we have two new flavor options. Michelle Little from Perfect Granola, she actually still works with us. So we took her recipe and really tweaked it. We thought we could modify with some different ratios and whatnot, and kind of improved it a bit. As far as packaging, we know certain schools like to serve granola and cereals in different ways. So we have a 1 ounce single serve packet along with 20-pound bulk boxes. So if somebody's making parfaits, we just did a run with the Greater Southern Tier BOCES where they did bulk and made parfaits, and they really enjoyed it. All of our products are made right in our allergen-free facility in Elmira. And it should be noted, we have New York State grown and certified and non-New York State. So obviously we hope everybody takes the New York State grown and certified option, but make sure you just clarify that when ordering, just so there isn't any confusion. SJ, you can click to the next, and that's all my contact info there. If anyone has any questions, comments, feel free to email me, call me, text me, always available. And we're super excited to work with everybody.
Thank you, Charlie. We have a question in chat about the case size and cost. So is there anything you can share on that, or would you rather connect directly?
Yeah, I can send out, we have a price list. So our minimum to come direct is 1 pallet. And we've really been trying, with us just starting in 2022, to set up distribution with a lot of different distributors. The more that you can push your distributors, or at least let them know that you would like to have our granola, the better. We're currently being set up with Ginsberg's, US Foods, Albany and Buffalo, Headwater Food Hub, Renzi up north, but we're really trying to get our granola as accessible as possible with as many distributors as possible to make it as easy as we can for you guys to get it. We're also, as Stephen was talking about, we're open to delivering local. We have some relationships set up with some kind of local trucking terminals and agencies to really get the really do some more local deliveries. And as we get going, we just want to start relationships with each and every one of you. So if a pallet is too much, let's talk offline and we can figure out how to get something going.
Great, thanks. We have some questions in the chat. Eshe, could you go back up to the pack size slides? We had a question about selling bulk or just individual. I believe you do both, but do you want to reiterate that?
Yep, we do both. So we have 1 ounce single serve packets, and they come in a case of 275. And then we also offer a 20-pound bulk box as well, which is 320 ounces.
Great. We have a question about whether or not you're in contact with ACE Endico or DOT. So
yes, I've been trying to be in contact. It's proven a little more difficult than I thought. So if any of you work with them, if you wouldn't mind suggesting us, that would be great. Or if you have a contact for somebody, that would be phenomenal.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry, they're coming in fast here. Let's see. You mentioned Renzi's. Can you confirm if that partnership is established or if you're working on it?
We're still working on it. We actually just talked to them earlier this week. They're keeping an eye out on bids that come across their desk to anything that we would be a good fit for to put us in on. So they currently don't stock it, but they've been keeping their eye out for different opportunities for us.
Great. We have a nice little shout out from Dawn. Charlie was kind enough to stop by White Plains and drop off and send samples and listen to our feedback. Very responsive. So just wanted to share that. That's the good stuff. How many cases per pallet, Charlie?
We have 2 different case sizes. For the individual packed, there are 32 that will fit. The cases are a bit bigger. For the 20-pound, we have smaller just because we wanted to limit the weight of them. So there are 64 that will fit on a pallet, which I know seems overwhelming. And so again, I just want to reiterate, if you have a smaller district or if you just want to test it, kind of like Dawn did, or like some of the Greater Southern Tier BOCES schools did, we want to work with you. So if you just want to try 6 cases or whatever it may be, feel free to reach out and we can work with you on that.
Great. We have a question about the product being kosher. Is it not?
That is a very good question. I would say no as of now, just because I'm not certain, but I will look into that. I don't want to tell you it is and have it not be, but yeah, I will check in and I will check into that and check back.
Great. Shelf life on both products. What is it?
365 days, full year.
Easy to remember.
Yeah.
Had a nice little call out, said great product. We don't have any other questions that I see in here. I'm just gonna scan up, see if I missed any. don't think that I did. Oh, looks like maybe, oh, somebody asked about what product was the favorite, and Don shared the chocolate. I've actually had both too. And I have to say, I think my kids were really excited to just get something healthy with chocolate on it.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Any other questions, comments? All right, Charlie, I don't see any more, but thank you so much for joining us today and answering all the questions. If more come in, feel free to answer them in chat if you stick around. But like I've said to other vendors, we'll make sure that we share information.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, folks. So I'm gonna fill in the next slot here. Just give me a second while I switch my screen around. We had a cancellation today, so I'm just gonna fill in here. Could one of my teammates just let me know if you can see the database?
Yes.
We can see it.
Great, thank you. So there's two things I wanted to share. First, I wanted to share, and for a lot of you, this may be old information. Some of you, it may be new, but I certainly wanted to share this information. So I'm going to share out information on two different databases that our team maintains. The first is the 30% database, and the second is the New York Foods database. And I actually have a slide that I want to share. Just to give me 1 second here. Hold on. Sorry, folks. I have lots of other screens pulled up. Okay. Alrighty. So again, a lot of you have probably seen and heard about the database before. We do continually update it. So the products that you're hearing about today are either currently in there or we are working quickly to get them added. Like I said, there's a handful of new products that have come online this year, and our established producers have added to their product lines as well. So this is something that we continually update. I'm going to take you through the database in just a moment so you can see it live. But there's just a few points that I want to mention about it, because the databases that I'm going to be sharing are different. They both list New York food products, but the intention behind them is a bit different. So the first one is our 30% product eligible database. We've been hosting this database for, well, since it's existed, but it's been about 5 years now. And we list products specifically. So it's product specific, not vendor specific. And similar to the folks that are presenting here today, in order to have the products listed, they have to either be New York grown and certified, which we confirm with our partners at Ag and Markets, or we have to have a product formulation statement for them on file that we have reviewed and feel confident is completed accurately. And the reason is because we want you to have a one-stop shop where you can go and find 30% eligible products and feel comfortable that that product has been vetted out and will count towards your 30%. I have to say, it doesn't include a lot of fresh and minimally processed products, but both are available through distribution partners year round. So there are more value added products listed in there. There's lots of reasons behind that. One is that produce is obviously very seasonal. It's available regionally by lots of different folks, farmers, food hubs, distributors. It's harder to update in real time and kind of maintain accuracy and integrity in that. So, but we certainly don't want you to think that there's not fresh options available, because there definitely are. In addition to the New York Grown and Certified status, we also embed product formulation statements, and I'll show you what I mean by embed right in the database. We have product information sheets. So somebody had asked earlier about seeing pictures of the products from MorningStar. We have information sheets embedded in each of those product records. And again, I think that'll make sense in a moment. We have known distribution partners, so we do the best that we can with that. We ask the vendor what distributors stock their items. So we do the best that we can there. We list product codes, etc. So that's the first database. The next one that I'm sorry, this is a kind of a summary of items that you'll see in there. I'll take you through one or two examples. But again, we have lots of different protein items in there, both raw, cooked beef, poultry. We've got to get not MorningStar's. We've got to get Lucki7's products listed in there. We don't have any pork products in there listed currently, so it'll be fantastic to add those. Plant-based proteins, dried beans, canned beans, tofu, handful of different grain options, vegetables, fresh, minimally processed. Again, that's not really the lion's share of what's listed in there. Similarly with fruit, lots and lots of different dairy products, and then a handful of value-added products. And I mentioned that we're adding a lot to it right now. So a handful of the vendors that you're going to hear from today and tomorrow are not currently in the database, but they will be in the next few weeks. We're just getting paperwork in hand so we can upload a complete product record. The other database that I'm going to take you through, and I'll show you what each of these look like. They look very similar because we use the same platform, is the New York Foods database. We created this one in partnership, well, I shouldn't say in partnership, in response to Local Food for Schools. So for those of you that applied for and are receiving Local Food for Schools funds, this is a great resource for you to look at. And for anybody else that wants to support small, socially disadvantaged producers, this is a great resource for you to look at. So we polled the agricultural community to the best of our ability through our partner networks and our own networks, and created a database through self-attestation only that lists vendors that are either small businesses and or identify as socially disadvantaged. So if you're looking to spend those LFS funds and target the beneficiaries the money is intended to benefit, this database is a great place to go look for those products. And we're continually adding to that. So the database continues to grow. One thing that I do want to mention is it's different than the 30% database in one signature way. You cannot assume that any product purchased from a vendor from the New York Food database is in fact a 30% eligible product. So it's just something that you'll have to ask about. Again, the 30% database is product specific. The New York vendor database is just that. It's a vendor database where you can, again, identify small businesses and socially disadvantaged producers. And it certainly doesn't list all of them by any means. We're doing our best to be able to grow that database. So I'm going to just pop over to my screen here on the right and just show you what the databases look like. And Amy, if you could drop these links in chat, I would appreciate that. So this is the 30% New York database, and I'm going to try to pull up an example of the different types of information that we have in here. So I'm just going to grab the first one that I see here. It's Slate Foods, and if you click on, so each one of these is considered a product record. It's very similar to Excel. The difference is we can embed documents in each of these. So if I just go back to where I was, and you click it up, you click on it, it pulls up lots of information that vendors share with us. So we have product information. In this case, we have nutritionals. We have their New York Grown and Certified certificate. We don't have these for all products, so don't be concerned if you see a product listed in the database if we don't have the certificate. Again, we wouldn't put it in the database if we didn't have a PFS and or if it was New York Grown and Certified. But we have lots of information in here. So if a product wasn't New York Grown and Certified, we would have product formulation statements in here. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I always go to the ones that I know we have PFSs for. So when you're going to do, if you're going after the 30% and you're buying items that are listed in the database, you can pull all of the information like product formulation statements. So in this particular case, this is for the Welch's grape juice. We needed to get some additional information from them, like a list of their farm partners. So we have that. We have a letter kind of explaining the relationship between the multitude of different supply chain partners involved in the production of this. And then we have their product formulation statements. And you'll notice that the date for this is 3/24/22. Becky is working hard on getting updated product formulation statements for 2023. We're not concerned about any product that's listed in the database, but we're adding those in right now. And you can just go and literally download them. You click your little down arrow and it downloads. So that's an example of the product that we have in there for the information that we have per product in there. And then I think we had gotten a question about the chicken product specifically. These are all currently listed, so these are updated. And I'll just pull up one of the links from MorningStar so you can see what we have in here. So you have contact information. So if you actually click on the manufacturer button, that opens up a separate card, if you will, for them with information about how to contact Ruben. So it's got his name, it's got his number, it's got his email and his website. Is it grown and certified? Yes. And the different types of products that they carry. And then we also have, I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard background noise, but that was my little child who sounded very unhappy for a moment. We also have information again about each. So the nutritionals, and I realize this is a little small. Let me make it a little bit bigger. I just pulled up the diced chicken, but you see here, there's information about the diced chicken and just some information about what the label looks like. So lots and lots of good information in there. So that's the database. And then I'm gonna, the 30% database, I'm gonna click over, and Amy, if you haven't already, if you would pop this in the chat box, I would appreciate it. So this is our New York food database. It's organized very similarly. There's lots of different ways you can organize this too. I wanna mention, these are read-only files, so you can go through and just play around with grouping them by filtering them by products, by regions to find something to meet your needs. But here, for example, and I'm just going to go over to show you the different types of information we have in here. We have product category, products carried, region served, information about how to contact the vendor, website information if we have it. And then here we have, is this a small business? I think all of the businesses that we have listed in this are small businesses. And then is this a socially disadvantaged producer? And again, this was through self-attestation by the vendor, but we have a check boxes here. So lots of information in here. We also have, if they hold other certifications and they shared that with us, we've listed those as well. So those are just a few resources I wanted to share with you to help you find eligible products, eligible New York products for the 30% for your local food for schools funds and just local sourcing in general. So I'm going to stop sharing. I have not been in the chat box, so I don't know if we have any questions. Team, do we have any questions?
No, there was just one about the link that I shared, but I think she's okay now. Stephanie, you were able to view the database or no? It was asking her to sign in or something.
It should be read only, but we'll double check that. Yeah, we'll double check that. We have found that the system at large sometimes toggles things on and off, and I can't tell you why. But we'll make sure it's read only. It is set up to be read only, but we'll double check that on our end.
Yeah, so Stephanie, if you just want to let me know. Oh, you're waiting for permission. I'm
checking it out.
Yeah, Becky's checking it out. That shouldn't be the case. They should be open share. Click on the link and you have access. So we'll double check that on our end, but that is how they're set up. Again, sometimes the software administrators toggle things on and off without us knowing. Great. Okay, so it looks like a couple people need permission. That's interesting. It looks like it's just the second one, Becky, the New York Foods database. We'll double check that while we're gearing up for the next presentation and just update you in chat. But thanks for clicking on those and letting us know.
Should be all set now.
Great.
I give it a try. It was definitely one of those things. Talk on again.
Don't know why that happens. No, it's actually helpful to have someone spot check it every once in a while. You should not have to have permission to access the database. They're open source. So if either Stephanie or Samantha, if you want to click on that again and let us know, that'd be greatly appreciated. But I think we can move on to our next presenter. I see in there, John Alinto from One Mighty Mill. SJ, do we have slides? Perfect, you just beat me to it. All right, John, this is Cheryl. If you want to just take it away, you just need to cue SJ up for a slide change when you're ready.
Okay, and it's SJ?
SJ, yep, she's got you on the back end, just
awesome.
moving through your presentation.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to tell you the story of One Mighty Mill, and see if there could be some interest in supporting what we're doing and partnering with some of the folks in the audience. Cheryl, how many minutes did you have slotted for me?
We have 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'm actually a little bit ahead of schedule because
Okay.
I was filling in for somebody. I wasn't slated to present today. So I would say count on 15. And if we have some Q&A coming in the chat, we'll certainly take them.
Great. All right. So I'll move quickly through the setup here, because I think everybody on this call cares about local food systems. So I think some of this is going to be pretty basic, but I do want to kind of walk you through what we're doing. So we are not a typical we're not a typical, I think, school food or institutional food company. We're different in that the core focus of what we're doing is targeted on retail and building a brand at grocery. But we have schools as part of the origin of what we wanted to build, and so we kind of at the very heart of our company, and the first customer we ever had was the Boston Public School System, and so we're hardwired to do this. It's been difficult. We've been in business 5 years, and it's been difficult for us to navigate both channels, mostly because very, very long sales cycle and a lot of dead ends that we hit in kind of the institutional versus the retail. We saw some fast growth. So SJ, you can go to the next slide. So really what we're doing is, we manufacture products. You guys will see pictures of our products, but really what we're trying to do is solve a problem. For us, the problem is that flour is broken. Flour is not as good as it should be, doesn't taste as good, and it's not as good for us. And really, yeah, go ahead. And really that came down to what we've done to the process to grow wheat and then transform that into flour. Next slide, SJ, please. The flour that we eat today is nothing like the flour of our great grandparents or of our ancestors. Local stone mills. A lot of people talk about healthy local food systems, but really stone mills are the cornerstones of a true healthy local food system, or at least that's what we believe. 150 years ago, there were, or the year 1900, less than 150 years ago, there were 25,000 stone mills in the United States. By the year 2000, 100 years later, there's 201. When you have stone mills, food systems look differently. Farmers grow wheat around those mills, and the flour that's produced on a stone mill is crushed whole. So the living fats and oils are a part of that ingredient or that product. And so real stone mill flour has a shelf life. SJ, you can jump to the next. And really, those stone mills were all eliminated with the invention of the roller mill. The roller mill was designed to extract kind of that living fats and oils from the germ, and to really make flour what has become kind of a hyper processed food that lives forever and has unlimited shelf life, and really designed to work great in kind of the applications of big food. And slowly, while a lot of people haven't, or this has flown under the radar, we as Americans, we've paid the price both nutritionally and the health of us and our communities in our environment. Next, SJ, please. Organic wheat berries are the original superfood. There's every year there's like a new chia seed or a new whatever, but really organic wheat is incredibly nutrient dense. It's incredibly good for us. It's just the process that extracts all that nutrients and all that fiber and all the goodness and renders it into something that's not nearly, that's like basically an empty shell of an ingredient. Next, SJ, please. Our mission at One Mighty Mill is to bring back local food systems that help our communities be healthy and thrive. We believe the best way we can fulfill that mission is, number one, to build more stone mills, connect them to more regional or local farms, and to do that region by region, as far as our company can take us. This is a picture of Andrew Hine. He's the only stone mill builder in the United States that builds old school horizontal mills at scale. This is a picture of our mill. This is our first mill in Lynn, Massachusetts. It's a 48-inch in diameter piece of Vermont granite. that bed stone stays fixed. There's another 1,200-pound stone. So they're both 1,200-pound stones that stack. The top one is called a runner stone. That'll spin. It's a very simple process. Organic wheat drops from the top. This picture doesn't show you kind of the overall machinery, but organic wheat drops from the top from a hopper through an auger. The wheat berries hit the stone, and the stone crushes it whole to turn it into fresh flour. I can go to the next, SJ, please. So we, like I said at the beginning, we're kind of a different company, especially at grocery stores, mostly because a lot of times CPG or consumer packaged goods is also a lot of times it's kind of a great marketing or great packaging on a product, and then things are kind of made as a part of kind of a larger system, whether it's co-manufactured or whatever. For us, fresh stone mill flour doesn't exist at scale. And so we had to rebuild our own food system. So we started with that one mill. We built a mill and bakery in Lynn, Massachusetts 5 years ago. We contracted 2 entire harvests for the year 2017 to 2018, or an organic harvest from one farmer up in northern Maine, in Aroostook County, Maine. And that was the foundation of our company. And so we started milling and baking. We opened a bakery to serve the retail public, to our community in Lynn. And like I said, we had kind of got creative and got a contract with Boston Public Schools to feed the 20 schools in closest proximity to food deserts. Simultaneously, we started to design products for grocery stores and made our way into kind of Whole Foods and the other kind of natural independent grocers all over New England. You can go ahead, SJ. It's taken us 5 years, but we've built a much more mature system. So we went from one stone mill and bakery in Lynn and one farm, and now we're up to, at least in the Northeast, we're up to 7 stone mills. So we added 3 more stone mills in Boston, in a warehouse in Boston. We found a partner bakery to work with in Brockton, Mass. About a year ago, or a little over a year ago, we finished construction of 3 stone mills in Blauvelt, New York. We built those kind of in a partnership with a bakery in Rockland County in Nanuet, and with another partnership with a organic grower in Penn Yan, New York, Peter Martin's Farms. We've also expanded our supply chains because there's not enough organic wheat to fuel our growth in the Northeast. So we've had to expand our supply chain. We work with an organic grower in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Montana, and we also in the last year have built stone mills in New York and connected our mills to organic growers in the Sacramento Valley and another partner bakery out in the Northern California region. SJ, you can go ahead. These are our products for grocery. We sell 3 types of organic whole wheat bagels. We sell 3 types of organic whole wheat sliced breads. We also sell tortillas and some hard pretzels, but this is the kind of core of our company fueling our growth. So let's talk about schools now, so make it more relevant for everybody, but I couldn't do it without the setup. That partnership. So the other piece is when you want to build stone mills and rebuild food systems as kind of the mission and the inspiration for your company, we hold ourselves accountable to specific metrics, and we measure and report kind of what we believe is like the goodness that we create every year. That one relationship with Boston's public schools expanded to Lynn, so the city that our first mill and bakery is in. We fed every student every Friday in Lynn our plain whole wheat organic bagel. And then Springfield Public Schools came on last September, or I'm sorry, September before last. So it's been a year and a half. And really with 30,000 students, really gave us the opportunity to make a real difference in focusing on making sure that organic stone mill products aren't just going to like Whole Foods customers. That's always been the intention. And so we obviously work on a much different margin structure and really do this because we want to build a company that's great beyond kind of profit and loss. We also, everybody that works full time at our company gets equity in the company. We have 16 owners. And then we've done some really amazing things in terms of supply chain on the ag side around, commitments to local and direct contracts with growers. So we signed direct multi-year contracts with growers, and we think that we can be a catalyst to really create a change all the way from the farm up to the stone mills, all the way to the bakery. SJ, you can jump. This is just a graphic depiction. So our bagels now are in Lynn Public Schools and Springfield Public Schools. Last year, it was like 600,000. This is just a visual map of that we used in our impact report at the end of last year, just showing kind of the scale and the volume that we've taken on. Springfield is very unique that they have a culinary center, which allows us to do full frozen truckloads into their culinary center. They have a huge freezer, and really creates a ton of efficiencies for us to be able to pull that off. Lynn is different. Lynn is in our home, so we do DSD for Lynn, or direct deliveries. You know, in terms of this call, we would have to figure out how we do it. But you know, the reason why I'm on this call is because I feel like I'm in front of people who are resisting the status quo. They want to do something better, and so do we. And so, you know, distribution is always going to be, I think, a little bit of a hurdle, but something that we'd welcome to work through together. You can go to the next one, please, SJ. So besides our bagels, and they come frozen 60 count sliced, and we have 3 types. I just want to make sure I'm sharing all the relevant info. We do a whole wheat cinnamon raisin, a whole wheat everything, and a whole wheat plain. They're really the exact same as our retail product. We just slice it and then don't put packaging on it, throw it into a 60 count box. But our relationship with Springfield created an opportunity to do something really, really exciting. I bet, like everybody on the call, you know, pizza is definitely the most popular and highest consumed product in Springfield. I'm sure it's every school in America. And the team in Springfield was very, very innovative and almost kind of like radical in that they decided that Big Daddy's Pizza, which is a frozen product with a bunch of ingredients in the crust, I think at last count it was like 27 ingredients, that they could do better. And so we created this project that was really kind of helped through a grant from a local philanthropist called the Kendall Foundation that helped with some R&D. And what we wanted to try to do was bring in organic wheat from one farm, so as local as we could, which was in Penn Yan, so Peter Martin's farm in Penn Yan, mill it all in Boston, and then bake it all in Brockton. And so really create that local food system. But then, you know, it's not enough to just make it local and healthier. The kids have to love it. Like they have to think it's better than Big Daddy's, and it has to be cheaper or the same price as Big Daddy's. And so very, very, lot of challenges, but the best thing that happened was Springfield approached this really kind of with real like rigor in terms of they knew they needed to get data. And so we did a survey. And this is a picture of, on the left, it's me with the team in one of the high schools in Springfield. And then this is a photo of the kids taking the survey. You can jump forward, SJ. They did tablet survey collections, and then they did really just like rudimentary paper, fill it out. We got 80, so we did it over 3 different we did it over 3 different schools. We got 800 surveys completed. The paper was way more, the adoption on the paper was way more, it was just better. Kids were more than willing to fill out the paper. They were excited to do it. To my shock, I always thought that they love Big Daddy's. I ate Big Daddy's a lot as a part of the R&D process with Springfield, as you know, we had to get through their leadership team and with Sodexo to get buy-in that we could make a better tasting product. And I always just assumed that Big Daddy's was just beloved by the kids because it just tastes like, I don't know, just tastes very generic, almost like Wonder Bread. But the best result was, you can go to the next slide. This just came back last month. So it was over 800 survey respondents, all the kids. We got a 94% approval rating, which is that pie chart. And this is not one mighty mill at all. This is 100%. This is all done by Springfield. We had very little influence. I was able to be a part of stand in the cafeteria one day, but you know, this is all objective, all sponsored by Springfield, done by Springfield team. So 94% approval rating. You know, 371, which is almost 50%, said they loved it in orange on the right. Lower left, they thought it was great in terms of like no changes really. And then the key takeaway is that this kind of validated it for Springfield and Sodexo that they could move forward with this project. They do well over 1 million slices of pizza per school year. And so this is a massive undertaking for both One Mighty Mill and Springfield. They are changing the process in the cafeteria. So Big Daddy's comes fully assembled, frozen with cheese and sauce. They will be saucing our crust. Our crust is par baked. It has 7 ingredients. It comes in frozen, and then they are going to sauce it themselves, cheese it themselves, and then bake it off. The same way as Big Daddy's, just those 2 steps in the process. Added a little more labor, but a group like Springfield, they're just great partners, and they understand that to do something, to make a big change, you got to do a little extra work, and so they've embraced it. And so in September we'll be up and going, and it's a huge opportunity for our company, and something we're really proud of. I'd love to. Oh, and then last piece is, our job as a company is to educate. And so we think about education, everybody that is going to eat our product. So we're very we're aggressive in digital, whether it's email, TikTok, Instagram, and it's because the world doesn't know that there's a problem necessarily. The world doesn't know that flour can be better. Flour is not as good for us. People are confused about gluten and carbs and bread and everything. And so we think about students and teachers and teams within schools as all part of that education process. And so that is kind of an extra dimension of kind of how we think about what our jobs are. So we wouldn't, it's not just about making the food and providing it to your kids. It's also about how can we continue to push the envelope to make everybody that would come into contact with our products more understanding of kind of the solution we're trying to provide. Okay, thanks, SJ. That's good. I'd love questions, and I don't know if we have time for them, but I'm happy to stay for whatever, Cheryl, you want to spend time on.
Yeah, no, John, thank you so much. We do have a few questions, and folks,
Okay.
Continue to put them in if you have them. So we had a question about cake size, or cake, it's not cake, case size, price, and quantity. So anything you can share there?
That's a great question. I made up a sell sheet. So we had to design the pizza crust to spec to meet the Big Daddies. So it's going to be 8 slices. It's going to have that nutritional, the guideline piece of whole grain. It's going to be, I think it's a 2 ounce, got to be 2 or 2.5 ounce. The case pack is still TBD. We are designing this in total collaboration with Springfield. We're not bringing anything of our own. This is all about what's best for the kids and what's best for Springfield. So the best thing I could do is let you know that once we define what those standards are, then we'll update a sell sheet and get it to you, or get it to anybody that's interested.
Yeah, and John, let me ask a question on that too. I do have the sell sheet that you shared with me. Is that something you want me to share with this audience, or do you want to wait? Okay.
No, that's a great starting point.
I may be able to put it in chat. I think I can, folks. Bear with me. It's just, this is like, and if not, we'll share it out with everybody. But I do have a sell sheet from John. And again, this is 100% New York flour.
It's going to be for Springfield. Yeah, it can be for you. We've hit kind of the perfect spec in terms of protein content in that New York wheat. And we also, that was a requirement for what we wanted to do with Springfield. So it would make even more sense, obviously, for New York schools. And we would, depending on how you would want to do it, but we would love to mill that at our mills in Blauvelt, New York. So it could really be, it could just be a really compelling process that we set up for you.
Great, thanks. And we have a question from Alan, who's out on Long Island. Are samples an option?
Yes, samples are going to be an option very soon. It's driving me crazy because we have interest from Buffalo that Becky and Cheryl have given me the chance that there's some interest there. The challenge is we have to do really large runs, and we only do those large runs when Springfield needs samples. So they need one last big run before May 16th. So I'm gonna have a whole bunch of product. It'll be frozen, and I'd love to ship it out to anybody that would like to try it. So please, I don't know if the best way to just go direct to me or Cheryl, if you want to handle that, and then forward me the interest either way.
Yeah, we can do either or. So I'm working on the back end here, trying to be able to upload an attachment into chat. I don't know if I'll be able to figure this out for all of you, but I'll try. But John, we'll make sure that you have the participants that joined here today. And similarly, we're going to send out presentations, vendor information. If I can't upload this into chat, I will make sure that the sell sheet goes out with that, but we'll connect for sure. And I would say if there are schools that are looking for samples, knowing that you may only be doing one larger run this year, I would say speak now or reach out to one of us directly and or John to let us know. So if it's possible to get in that queue for the sample.
Yeah, I mean, in August we'll be producing every week, multiple times a week. So it won't be an issue. It'll just be, between now and August, it'll be kind of quiet for us. So I'd love to take advantage of this next run and get samples to anybody out there that would like to try it.
Great. Just looking in the chat box here. So we do have some interest in some folks here for samples. So we'll take note of that on our end too. We have some interest in Western New York from Forestville, Three Village. I don't know all my school districts across the state yet. I haven't gotten all 1,000 of them memorized, so I don't know where Three Village is. White Plains, very interested. What does timing look like for interested New York districts? Noted they're very close to your mill. So I think you kind of went over timeline, but do you want to talk about that again, like what your timeline looks like for, we talked a little bit about samples, but to actually get it on menus?
So I have to tell you, so Springfield is, we want to grow this. We want to grow this program. We want to feed as many kids as we can. I would say what we'd love to do is get samples out and have conversations, but with the knowledge that we're going to be totally focused on doing an awesome job with Springfield. And I do think it would be best for us if we got them up and running for at least a couple weeks through August, just to make sure that we work out any kinks and we're great partners. So I would hate to oversell. So I don't know how timing works for procurement on everybody's calendar, but I would say by mid-September, we should be ready to start bringing on other partners. But I think for the launch, the right thing to do for us is to make sure we're 100% locked in on being the best partner to Springfield we can be.
I think that's totally fair. You have a bunch of school food partners here that would, I'm sure, can appreciate that. So we'll take note of interest here too. We've got interest from a handful of districts across the state in the chat box alone. And like I said, I was not tech savvy enough to figure out how to link this to my SharePoint to share the sell sheet with you. So sorry about that, but I do have it. I don't know if it's helpful to pull up. I can share my screen really quickly. Ashley, do you want to stop sharing? I think you're going to have to anyways before we go on to our next vendor. Thank you. But if there's other questions, I think it's just more requests for samples. So like I said, we're noting all of this here.
Okay, that's great.
But I have your sell sheet here too. So there's some information on different certifications, it looks like, non-GMO, organic, a handful of others here. And then, like I said, we'll share this out with the group, but there's some specs listed on here too.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for all the interest. This is really exciting. This definitely doesn't happen every day to to us. So this is awesome. Really appreciate it. I can't wait to get samples out to everybody.
Yeah, that's great. And thanks for joining us, John, and buying grain from a great farm partner in New York. So this worked out well. I remember I came across One Mighty Mill years ago in the Northeast when I got to sample one of the delicious bagels. And I kept thinking, how can we get this to New York? And then you guys figured it out all on your own. So awesome.
Great. Well, thanks so much. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yep. Thanks, John. All right.
All
So I
right, bye,
think,
guys.
bye-bye. We are going to switch gears and talk about dairy. So we have Courtney Roberts here with us from Hudson Valley Fresh. And I'm going to bounce it back over to SJ. I'm assuming, Courtney, I don't know if you had slides or not, but SJ, if there are slides, if you can pull them up, that would be great. And then Courtney, just cue SJ up when you're ready for a slide transition.
Okay, great. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak with you all today. My name is Courtney Roberts. I'm here talking on behalf of Hudson Valley Fresh Dairy. If you want to go ahead to the next slide. Yep. So that's just a very brief overview of who we are. We are a small farmer-owned milk cooperative based here in the Hudson Valley. So you can see our farms are primarily there in Columbia and Dutchess and Ulster counties. Our processing facility is in Kingston, New York, right off of 87. So we are really 100% both produced and processed right here in New York, right here in the Hudson Valley. We represent a variety of farms that you can see there. Most of them multi-generation, some first generation, family farms. The idea of Hudson Valley Fresh started about 10, almost 15 years ago now, where a group of farmers got together. We're producing high quality milk here in the Hudson Valley, a majority of which was all going to Agrimark, the Cabot cheese label, you guys might be familiar with. And, you know, at the same time, there was a lot of farms, you know, going out of business. So I think a big part of, you know, farm to school is how do we connect these farms to students, and back, you know, vice versa, how do we connect students back to the farms? And that was really what our mission was, you know, 15 years ago when we got this off the ground. We knew that there was a lot of community members looking to support local, and would it be possible to start a company up that did just that. So we started very small. We started, you know, taking orders in the tractor and delivering in a pickup truck. And we've grown today to be 8 producing farms are in our program. We only source from these 8 farms. We process 4 days a week here in Kingston. So one day the truck picks up half the farms and the following day it picks up the other. If the milk, we only process milk that we take the orders for. So that is our the fresh part of Hudson Valley Fresh. We really strive to do cow to kid in as little as just 2 to 3 days. So if you want to go to the next slide, we'll just kind of get into a little bit more about, you know, really what distinguishes us. The main thing is, you know, really our quality. Like I said, these farms were winning these milk quality awards. Some of them even national milk quality awards. That picture right there is of Jim Davenport, and the cow's name is Sassy. His farm in Ancramdale, New York, which is in the Taconic Hills School District. They are the top 8 farms in the country, and they've received that award a total of 8 times in the past 15 years since this project was started. So it's not a one-time, one-off thing. Commitment to quality is really intrinsically who we are. And milk quality is something that's very objective. So when you're talking about quality, the main thing you look at in the milk is somatic cell counts. Very objective, right? So the lower that number is, more indicative, it indicates, excuse me, that the cows are healthy, low stress, comfortable, not fighting any infections. You know, that's what that number tells us. So premium milk is considered anything under 200,000 cells per milliliter. You know, the legal limit in the United States is 750,000 cells per milliliter. Our farms are just a fraction of that, anywhere between 110 to 130. So all of this, again, objective, we test every single cow in our project across the 8 farms. We do that twice per month, every single month of the year. The farmers had to demonstrate these quality records for an entire year before joining. Again, you know, you can do anything good for one day, but to really produce a high quality product day in and day out, it starts at the farm. Now, because we're farmer owned, right, we have control from the cows themselves all the way to processing, all the way to delivery. So, you know, the next step of that is maintaining that quality. So in 2019, we were actually able, our farmers, to purchase the processing facility that we use here in Kingston, that has been going for many, many years before us. And we've continued to maintain that quality. You know, like I said, it's the fresh part, farm to bottle, you know, in as little as 2 days to our local customers. We're also local. As I mentioned, our farms are located right here in the Hudson Valley. We do work with several distribution partners. We're always looking to kind of expand into new markets. And for us, you know, we've been doing schools for quite a few years now, but it is something that's kind of only being around for 15 years. You know, we're truly just at the, you know, beginning stages, I think, of what we're capable of doing. You know, right now, we're doing about 15 different school districts. All of those right now are ones we're doing directly on our own trucks. We have 9 trucks that deliver as far north as about northern Columbia County, on this side of the river, and then parts of, you know, Greene, Ulster County, Dutchess County, and a little bit into Westchester. Again, we are working with distribution partners to go beyond that. We have distributors who have our products up in, you know, Albany County, Lake George area, down in Long Island as well. As the presenter before mentioned, you know, distribution is always a little bit of a hurdle. There, especially on something as perishable and, you know, as temperature sensitive as dairy. You know, but we're always looking to work with new districts and kind of expand. We've, you know, from the start, we actually were focusing on a lot of coffee shops. That was a lot of what we did in gallons of milk down and locally in the Hudson Valley, New York City, some retail as well. You know, but we're looking to continue to diversify and grow. Especially since so many of our school districts that we work with now, we actually have farms either in that district or in neighboring. So it makes it all the more important to kind of connect those students to, you know, where the food's coming from and vice versa. Something else that kind of distinguishes us is we are not ultra pasteurized. That's rather unique in the especially if you go to the grocery store, you'll find, you know, with a lot of the milks and especially the creamers, the half and halves, that's all typically ultra pasteurized. Ultra pasteurization, for those of you aren't totally familiar on that term, essentially it's heating the milk to a certain temperature to you know, kill any potential bacteria, and what it does is also extends the shelf life. So there's various levels of pasteurization, from raw milk off the farm, which, as you can imagine, is not pasteurized at all, which you can legally buy raw milk. Some of you may be familiar with that. From farms in New York State, you have to go to the farm, you have to pick it up. It's all completely regulated by the state. They have to pass inspections, etc. And then the opposite end of that spectrum, right, is the milk that you can buy on, you know, on Amazon that's totally shelf stable, that, you know, you don't even have to refrigerate it and it could last 6 months. So we are, you know, really the closest thing to that farm fresh milk right off the farm that you're going to get. We do, you know, like I said, minimally pasteurize the product. That being said, though, we don't have as long as a shelf life. So the districts we work with, most of them are twice a week. You know, we are able to get back right before the milk doesn't necessarily have to last a month, right? I mean, I know on breaks and stuff, we always have to work with food service directors and our distribution team to make sure, but you know, we do stamp the milk for 14 days at the day of production. That makes us a little different, but again, you know, we really focus on fresh, getting that product to you as soon as we can, you know, within 2 to 3 days. And you know, coming back twice a week, we can get you fresh milk the next time. As I said, you know, our farms are recipients of different awards, including the National Milk Quality Award. We also have different recognitions in terms of conservation, environmental stewardship. We are certified COFK kosher. Our milk is, you know, like all milk, 100%, you know, antibiotic free. All milk we test, doesn't matter, it's Hudson Valley Fresh or the milk we buy at the grocery store across the entire country. It's all tested antibiotic free. We do not use any growth hormones, RBST, and we are also New York State grown and certified as well. So those are a few things that really distinguish us in terms of the product itself. We offer packaging sizes, 8-ounce school milk cartons, all the way up to 5-gallon bags if anyone uses dispensers in their cafeterias. We do offer some other dairy products, creams, heavy cream, half and half. We do a phenomenal whole milk yogurt. Unfortunately, it's a whole milk yogurt, which I know kind of limits some of our school customers, kind of more of an a la carte option. But you know, for us, we did a little backstory in that we did a non-fat yogurt, and the recipe, you had to add so much to it to give it body, and we realized that if you just did a whole milk yogurt, the fat gave it body on its own and had a phenomenal flavor. So we made that switch, you know, when it seems to be a pendulum of fat is good, fat is bad, but we made the switch to a whole milk yogurt, and you know, for better, for worse, it's working really well for us right now. So next slide, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, and you know, aside from the product differentiating itself, I'd like to think that as a company, we differentiate ourselves as well. So, you know, like I said, we are totally kind of vertically integrated, right? From the farms to delivering with our own Hudson Valley Fresh trucks. Most of our management here at the plant comes from the farms themselves. We definitely bring in, you know, consultants and experts, and we've had people in the dairy processing industry for 40 years employed by our company. But the farmers very much take an active role in all we do. So just a couple ways that we really like to partner and can partner with schools. I see a couple in the comments there about a recent event we did at the Pine Plains School District. Flavia came to the school district and kids got to meet her, and it was a phenomenal event. But that's just one of the examples you can see up there on the pictures. That was a brown Swiss calf that we brought to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. They exclusively use our milk and cream for all the chefs there studying there. We got to bring a calf and they got to name the calf. It was a really fun event. That was actually a couple years ago. That cow has since calved, and now they're like, when are you bringing the calf back? So, you know, long-term relationships like that are definitely what we strive to build and grow. You'll see there too, we partnered with the FFA program, and they did like a milk fundraiser. We've had numerous sustainability classes, you know, home ec, those type of things, you know, interested in doing either Zoom sessions or coming onto campus. You can see we've set up tables and done samplings. We've brought calves to campus, and likewise the picture of the tractor there is a group that we brought to the farm, and they got to go for a hayride and see the animals themselves. All of that, you know, we're more than just a dairy delivery is what we strive for. Like I said, a lot of our myself included, employees come from connections at the farms and at the farm level. And I like to say I have a really great job because, you know, I still have the opportunity to milk cows on the farm and then get to come and talk about it in, you know, groups like this or down in New York City where there's, you know, much less exposure to just green open space in general and what it's like to farm. So next slide. That's about all I had to present to you guys today. I've just included some of the products that we do have. I did send some handouts over as well in terms of like a full product list, as well as, you know, more information about, you know, the distribution kind of area that we do, and where we're looking to expand. So I don't know if there's any other questions or concerns, but I really appreciate the opportunity to get to speak with you guys today. And oh, hello.
We're still
Hello.
here.
We're still
Okay.
here. We just lost you for a minute, Courtney.
Oh,
Just,
sorry.
no, it's all good. I wasn't sure if it was on our end or your end.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it looks like there's definitely some love in the chat box, so that's great. There's a question about a specification. Trying, like, basically, is ultra pasteurized specific enough to use as a product specification? I don't know if you have any insight on that to share in real time, but it's something we could also follow up with offline as well. I think it's a great question.
Yeah, I think that as far as like different bid language, really focusing on New York milk, because, you know, I mean, from talking with, you know, the team at Cornell and various food service directors, obviously, you know, having a New York milk is really helpful, if not crucial, I would say in most scenarios, and from what I've heard in terms of, you know, kind of meeting that quota. I would be happy to pass along kind of some other things, some things that we've seen in different bids. A way that some schools have done it is taking into consideration factors other than just price or you know, as being the end all be all factor in bids. So including language such as, you know, ultra pasteurization or, you know, ability to do farm to school events, that type of thing. But I'd be happy to send that along over to your team to hand out to everyone if there's more interest in that.
Sure, that would be great, Courtney. And I was going to follow up to Lauren. That might be something that we could follow up with State Ed about too, if that would be an allowable specification. So we don't, I mean, we're talking about preference for specification. I do believe they're here with us today, but I don't necessarily want to put them on the spot. But if you have an answer, State Ed, feel free to hop into chat and answer it. But yeah, I think that would be a great question to get answered. We know some of our partners are putting geographic preference bids out to be able to weight that differently, but great. I would say let's do one more question just because we are a little bit behind schedule. There's and that's not on you at all, that's on us. But there's a question about distributing to the Binghamton area. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I currently right now I would say our direct distribution, we would not be able to go as far as the Binghamton area. It's just a little bit of too much of a jump for us now. I think that we may have some distribution options there as well. So I would love to follow up with Cynthia if there is some interest there. I could maybe make some connections to some distributors who might be able to.
Sure, that's great. And Cynthia, if you want, you could pop your email in the chat box if you want to share it. If not, we can follow up offline too.
Well, or mine is up there on the screen. Courtney.
Actually, that's a bit more. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Why don't you pop your email in the chat box, Courtney? I can't copy and paste it off the slide. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, and there's and just in the chat too, I know you're in there. There's a little shout out for White Plains too, hoping to have a distribution option in the future. So great.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
So we are going to stay on the topic of dairy and invite our partners from Upstate Niagara Cooperative. I believe we have Jeffrey with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Well, take it away, Jeffrey.
Okay, SJ, can you go to the next slide? Okay, I'm Jeff Wass. I'm the director of food service sales for Upstate Niagara. We are a dairy cooperative located in Buffalo, New York. Currently, we have 261 member farms. We do conventional and organic and supervised kosher. We're marketing over 2.9 billion pounds of milk per year. We have complete control and ownership of the milk right from the farm to the plant and then to the customer. We guarantee a high quality milk supply. We have dedicated haulers and our own distribution fleet, quality standards in place each step. Entire milk supply is RBST free. We currently have 4 fluid milk processing plants, 3 cultured dairy manufacturing plants, 1 specialty dairy plant and beverage plant. We do 1.5 billion in sales a year. We are the 16th largest U.S. dairy cooperative with 1,700 employees. The nice thing about my responsibilities are throughout the whole country. And when I'm talking to folks way outside of New York State, they love the fact that they want to take care of the farmers, because all of the profits from everything that we sell goes back to our local farmers. Okay, I'll take the next slide, please. This gives you a little perspective of where we're located. The gold are our plants, our fluid plants. So we have the 4 fluid plants. We have in the, I don't know if that's burgundy or orange, but that's our cultured facilities for our sour cream, our yogurt, cottage cheese, those type of things. The green is our specialty beverage plant. And then all of the blue is just our distribution depots. And they're located strategically throughout the state. Next slide, please. This just gives you a little bit of a perspective of some of our brands. Bison brand, that's been around. If you've ever been to Western New York, Bison brand has been around since 1931. Whether it's sour cream, French onion dip, cottage cheese. The Intense milk is our single serve milk. Upstate Farms is really our food service brand that we have in the 48 4-ounce traditional yogurt, the 5.3 ounce Greek yogurt, the 6 2-pound Greek yogurt, and then the 4 5-pound traditional yogurt as well. We also have our fluid milk, and that's in the Upstate Farm label. We also do a lot of private labeling in that. Then Milk for Life for lactose intolerant. We just came out with that a few years ago. And then Belly Farms is our dairy down in Pennsylvania. Next slide. This here just gives you the sort of full array of our traditional yogurt with a variety of flavors from the 12 8-ounce, the 48 4-ounce. We have no artificial colors, flavors, or high fructose corn syrup. We have an extended shelf life that maximizes the value. You know, when we look at going up against some of our competition, they can't figure out how we get that. It's because our farms are located no less than a few hours from any of our production facilities, and our product is turned into something within 48 hours of it being milked. 4-ounce serving is 1 meat alternative. We are USDA Smart Snack compliant, and we meet the NSLP and the CACFP requirements. It certainly is an excellent source of calcium and vitamin D, gluten-free and kosher certified. And this does count towards the 30% sourced initiative goal for K through 12. I was told by a university that they have a goal of 20%. I don't know if that's uniformly, but that's what they told me. We're currently working on reformulation to meet the USDA standards for 25. That is going to have reduced sugar requirements. So we're currently working on that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to a cutting tomorrow to check out the reformulation. Next slide. This shows our 4 or 5 pound, and we have a pump that goes on top of that we provide the facility. The nice thing about it is it comes apart. It can go through the dishwasher. There's no cost to the facility, and we have 3 different flavors. We have a strawberry, a blueberry, a vanilla, and a plain. That's an all non-fat, and then we do have a low-fat, all natural vanilla. All right, next slide, please. This next one is on our Greek. Greek is non-fat, 0 fat. We have it in the 5.3 ounce cups and the 2 pound tubs. It has, we have 3 flavors in the 5.3, the vanilla, the strawberry, and the blueberry. In the 6 2 pounders, we have a plain and a vanilla. And again, there's no artificial colors, flavors, or high fructose corn syrup. It's gluten-free and kosher, and this also counts to your 30% for your goal. This is the Milk for Life for lactose-free. It's low-fat milk, 1%. Contains the same 13 essential nutrients as regular milk. 8 grams of protein per bottle. Fresh, pasteurized, cleaner, sweeter, easy to hold bottle shape for the kids. Gluten-free and kosher. And this also counts to your 30%. We have string cheese as well. It's a low moisture part skim string cheese. It's a good source of calcium, gluten-free. 1 stick, which is 1 ounce, equals a meat alternative. And you guessed it, it counts 30% to your source goal. We also won a gold medal at the 2021 New York State Fair. And here we've got a list of folks that can be your contact throughout the state. The one thing I wanted to mention, because a lot of the questions that came up were on distribution. We have our own DSD network that delivers from Buffalo all the way to Glen Falls. We also have, and that would be the whole product line. On the culture side, for food service, we are represented very well with a lot of the food service distributors, whether it be Cisco, several Cisco houses, U.S. Foods houses throughout the state, Driscoll, I think Ace Indigo came up. We're with them as well. H. Schreier, S. Bertram. So we go all the way across the state, down into the city and into Long Island as well, with the culture for food service. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
I'm just checking now. I don't see any questions in chat. So we may not.
Okay.
But really appreciate you walking us through all that. I always learn something new about Upstate whenever I hear a presentation.
Well, that's good.
It is good.
And I will tell you, I saw the pictures of the cows from the previous presentation. One of the first things when I started with the company, they had me go out to one of our family farms. And I grew up in the country and I had friends that had farms. I'm not a farmer by any means, but it is quite interesting, and they do really care about their animals. We have our own folks that go out and do surveys, even though the family farms own us. We inspect them and we guide them and direct them because they know that if the cows are comfortable, they're going to be producing better product. So it was quite interesting, and the one thing that you can say is nobody works harder than a farmer, and I was corrected because I was corrected, and they said no one works harder than a dairy farmer. They're out there 7 days a week, twice a day, milking their cows. So our folks are very committed to that mission, and that's good.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And if there's more questions that come in, we'll make sure you get them.
Okay. And
Appreciate it again. Thanks, Jeffrey.
And can I thank you folks for putting this together, because this is great. And
you're most welcome.
I've been on since 1, so I found it very interesting with all the other vendors.
Oh, good. That's awesome. I love that. Well, you're about to hear from one more. So we have 2 more presentations today. We have Kate Galassi joining us from Sfoglini Foods here in just a moment. I don't know if you have slides, but if you do, I think SJ will bring them up. If not, you can wing it. And then we are going to be wrapping it with Isa's Pita Chip. So we have 2 more to go here today. So take it away, Kate.
Hi, everybody. I don't have any slides. We have a very simple product lineup. We are a pasta manufacturer located in the Hudson Valley. We've been making dried pasta for a decade. We launched a farm to school line of pasta last year and have close to 100 school districts on board for this 2022-2023 school year. We make 3 shapes for farm to school, which is a blend that is 51% New York State whole grain flour from the Finger Lakes. We do a fusilli, a small shells, and a ziti. And those are all packed in a 15-pound food service case. We distribute all over the state in a blend of distributor and direct to school servicing. So that's what we do, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks, Kate. That was short and sweet, and the pasta is delicious. I can attest to it. I was going to plug that we do have the fusilli and the macaroni in our database. I think that means we need to get the shell information for you in the shells, so we can add that as well. But we do have product information sheets for both of those in our database. They have nutritionals and some other pack size information as well. But I'm trying to see, do we have any questions for Kate on the pasta? We have a question here: shipped direct or through a distributor? And then a follow-up: is Cisco Syracuse a distributor?
Depends on where the school is located. We have, for any school district that has been interested, we have been able to convince their distributor of choice to bid on it. So Asendico, Headwater Food Hub, Grow NYC Wholesale, we've had a lot of great distributors who've just added us to their bid, and smaller outfits like Hub on the Hill, 607 CSA, Red Barn Produce, who've been able to bring in our pasta. And then we've had a bunch of school districts, Beacon and other places, that are able to order a pallet and we ship direct, and that's been a great solution. So we're happy to do direct for places that can order a pallet or a half a pallet.
We have a question. Go ahead, you're reading chat. Do it.
Yeah, Cisco is not a current distributor, but we would be totally happy to work with them. We work with a whole bunch of national distributors. We on our retail side work with Walmart, UNFI, whatever. So we're totally set up to work with very large scale distributors. The shelf life is 2 years from manufacturing, and mixed pallets are totally okay.
Other questions for Kate?
I'll throw my email into the chat, and anybody who has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I've got a little info sheet I can send out.
That's great. Thanks, Kate.
We haven't worked with Ginsberg's yet, but we'd be happy to.
Great. Well, Kate, I think your brevity put us back on a schedule. So thanks for that. And Kate just dropped her information in the chat box if you want to reach out directly to her. Alrighty. Well, seeing and hearing no more. Thanks again, Kate. Appreciate it. Alrighty, folks. So first of all, thanks for your participation so far. We're nearing the end. We have one more presentation from Issa's Pita Chip. And I think SJ is pulling up their presentation. And I'm not sure who's presenting today on behalf of Issa's. Is it Marie?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Marie
There
Tracy.
you go. Great. Take
Hi.
it away.
Well, thanks to everyone who stayed on this long, and I have listened to the whole thing and it was great. I learned a lot too. So this is a really nice forum to be part of. So as I said, my name is Marie Tracy. I work for Affinity Group. We're a food broker. We have offices throughout the state of New York. I live in Albany and I cover the eastern side of New York, and my counterpart, Amory Norton, covers the western part. And we also have a team down in Metro New York that covers the Metro distributors. And we got the Issa's line about a year ago, and honestly, it's one of our favorites. Issa's makes pita chips using New York State wheat. What sets them apart is that they are flame baked chip. They're actually an authentic pita chip. They're thin, crispy. They're cooked over a flame, and that's what gives them their unique character. The company is owned and operated by Lebanese immigrants in Buffalo, New York, and they produce an authentic pita chip. What makes them different? You can switch them to the next slide. What makes them different and they stand out is that they are, well, number one, it's a New York State product. I don't think there's another New York State pita chip out there. The wheat is grown and milled only hours away from the production facility. And it's not only a benefit to the local community, but ensures a more consistent and high quality product. And it supports the community by providing jobs. It is a kosher product, it's vegan, and it really does fit nicely into the meal pattern, both breakfast and lunch. There's 3 varieties. There's a whole grain sea salt, a whole grain cinnamon sugar, and a whole grain spicy harissa. They come packed in 4 2-pound packages. So there's 128 servings in a case. A 1-ounce portion equals 1 grain, and that's about 11 chips. And it's about 35 cents a serving. So it's quite affordable for a 1 grain product. So you want to go to the next one. So here's just pretty much reiterated what I just said. And then the last one, last slide. No, one more. I had one a separate attachment. No, didn't make it. Anyway, there was a QR code on the last page, which I can send out to everyone if anybody wants samples. There's lots of different applications for it, whether you do it like a hummus lunch, you can use it as a salad topper instead of a dinner roll. My favorite one is the cinnamon and sugar served with yogurt for breakfast. That seems to be quite popular. Honestly, pretty much every school that has ordered these have reordered have continued to order. They're definitely well received. You know, customers say there's something different. There's a lot of menu fatigue going on in every school. There, you know, this is just something different. Right now, I know it's stocked at Latina. Headwater Food Hub has the cinnamon sugar in stock, and both Ginsberg's and US Albany has brought the product in, but it is a special order from both of them. So whether you're trying to achieve the 30% New York State products or just do a New York Thursday once a month, these really have a nice impact on your menu for your students in your community. Samples are available. Just reach out and I can put my email address on there. Any questions? Oh, I never turned my camera on.
Great, thanks, Marie. I also agree this is an awesome product. I'm not at all biased, but I remember when these came to be with the New York ingredients, and they are delicious, although they existed before that for sure. We do have a question about, has there been discussion about a 1-ounce single serve?
There has, but it's just so cost prohibitive. The packaging honestly would just crank up the price to, I think, unaffordable. I see the question about Cisco. No, I have never put an order through Cisco, so I don't believe there's any Cisco codes set up. But we could work on it.
Aggregate demand helps there for sure, right? So
For sure, for sure. And that's why, if anybody needs like any bid verbiage to specifically get these, because like I said, I don't think there's another New York State pita chip out there. These are very specific. And I code half of our bids, all my bids, and I have been seeing them popping up on the bid. So that's good news.
any other questions from the audience?
Well, thank you for having me. This was great. This was great. So can I ask a question of you, Cheryl? So you're doing this again tomorrow. Are you just showing what we did today, or do you have a whole different set of?
Nope. So it's a whole different set of vendors tomorrow. Well, we have Smith Packing, who is going to be sharing some information about some meat products, Upstate New York Growers and Packers, who's co-presenting with Russo Produce. Happy Valley Meat Co. They have meat products, as the name might suggest. Slate Foods, also some meat products. Headwater Food Hub, who has a myriad of different products, to include some frozen vegetables and canned beans. Wild Kale, who's did not present last year. We're thrilled to welcome her this year. She's got a handful of different value-added products, dumplings, raviolis, vegan, vegetarian, meat-based, so a lot of different options there, and a handful of others as well that I'm not calling out on the spot well. Botana line with Wardinski's, another meat producer, Gianforte Farms, who has grains, and last but certainly not least, Cool Tropics, who produces a handful of Concord grape juice products. So that's our lineup for tomorrow. Totally different vendors. And yeah, that's that.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining. And thank you to everyone who asked great questions and hung out there with us. We appreciate it.